All right, so we just landed in Armenia. Some of the best coffee from around the world comes from this specific region. So we got invited to try some of this coffee and these amazing restaurants. Can't wait. Let's go ahead and enjoy Armenia. Good morning, good morning. So we're here in the best bakery shop in town in Armenia. It's called Bianco. They opened it about 3 years ago, and the style is a little different up to your typical bakery here in town. Let's check it out. Estamos ya. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo van? ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo van? ¿Cómo están? So they invited me back in the kitchen, and of course it's my favorite place to be in. As soon as that door opened, the smell of the butter, the bread baking, everything just smells so fresh. Everything, they have bakers all over, kind of just taking out bread, putting in new bread. We even have bread that's being made right now as we speak. Look at the dough. I mean, you can tell that like he's gonna start baking right now. ¿Y qué estamos haciendo acá? So I was asking him what he's making here, and he's making, it's called payés bread. It's about 500 grams, and it has about 75% of humidity. 75% o 70, sí. Yeah, 75% humidity. So even the dough, you can see, like, come and check it out, and look how soft it is. It's kind of like, it's a little on the airy side. I wish you guys can smell what I'm smelling right now. Like, I haven't eaten, I decided to come into the kitchen first, but the smell is fresh, the fresh bread, it's just, it's awesome. Bueno, papá, gracias. Gracias. Bueno, pues, gracias. Bueno, muchas gracias. Gracias. Bueno, bendiciones. Muchas gracias. Wow. So the bread just came out of the oven, literally, and look at the color of the butter. I'm assuming that they use like fresh milk, local milk, so you can even see like just the butter is probably made here locally. All his products is local here nationally, and a lot as much from the region. So you can kind of see the bread, kind of see how, I mean, you see the steam, but you see how it's kind of crunchy on the outside and just kind of stretches. I think this is kind of customized a little more to the Colombian style. Something big that happens here in the culture is in Armenia is that usually they grow up here, and what's happening now is that there's like a little trend that's kind of going on where these youngsters are studying outside, but then they're coming back, they're opening up opportunities like this that just take it to a whole nother level, and then that also impulses the gastronomy and the culinary experiences here locally. So they're betting on themselves to take their city where they were born to another level, which to me is unbelievable because there's no other bakeries like this. Look how the butter has just melted a little bit. Look how delicious that looks. All right, so let's try it. I can eat this all day. Literally the butter feels like it was made this morning. It's called sourdough, and you do feel a little bit of the sour in the dough. And it's crunchy on the outside, soft in the inside, so it's what an amazing bread. Okay, so they just brought me these croissants. Look how crunchy this is. So, kind of see that? That's a good croissant. That's a hell of a croissant. Let's kind of cut the middle. Again, this is pretty impressive when you see this kind of here in a small town. So they're taking the education of baking to a whole nother level here. Look how soft, and then look how crunchy on the outside. So that's in the bread making. Look at that. So that's just, look at that. Look how great that looks. Let me see. Oh man, that's a hell of a croissant. That is a hell of a croissant. What's very impressive is that making this or making a restaurant successful is also about concepts, and these guys have it so clear on what they want, the quality they want to produce, and you can tell on the final product. So, I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that these guys are going to be successful. Okay, so this is very interesting. Like, what I asked for is something very typical from here, from Colombia or from this bakery shop, And I kind of asked him that. He's like, oh, we have acai bowl. And typically, most acai comes from Brazil. That's more or less where it's known from. It's actually from the Amazons, from here, from Colombia. And Colombia is a large producer of acai that I had absolutely no idea. So this is Colombian acai. I've never had Colombian acai. This is the first time. It's good, very good, very light, and wow, it's excellent. What I realize is that the fruits is all local. So I mean, you can just tell. Just look at the color of the fruits. Look at the color of that strawberry. Look at the banana. I mean, those are things that you can just see is fresh. Look at the apple. Look how amazing that apple is. A lot of this stuff here is also grown naturally. Like in the States, we use a lot of chemicals, a lot of product. Usually the product comes from Central America or from South America or from Mexico. So they have to add a lot of chemicals into these products so they last from where they're made to get to the States, because we're not big growers in the States. So for the amount of production or consumption that we do in the States. So here they have that luxury, which I think makes it a huge difference. They have some chia seeds in the middle. So this product, it makes the product that much better. Okay, so we have here eggs Benedict with their own brioche in-house, made in-house. So look how delicious that brioche. A hollandaise sauce, which is a little ham and some poached egg. They add a little sesame seeds. And this is kind of cool. So they got avocado, so it's kind of raw, but on top they toasted it. They kind of torched it to give that little char on the top. So I'm actually gonna try that first because it looks pretty interesting.
Yeah.
See that?
I see it.
So, okay. All right, so let's kind of cut in. You ready? Get close so you can see kind of how it's just gonna kind of, you know, and that's kind of your typical eggs Benedict. So I'm gonna kind of show you in the middle. So you see you can see the brioche right in there. So it's kind of crispy on the outside, and it's got the ham, the egg. I'm gonna kind of get it and just kind of dip it into that hollandaise sauce, and then take a big bite out of it. They add a little cilantro on top, so I think the cilantro gives it a little freshness, very different. That's awesome. What a great dish. And the bread, again, it's all about the bread. So that bread, if you see, it's a little light, but it's light enough so it sogs into all this sauce and it still holds its consistency. I'm gonna take another bite of this. And then the ham is also, I think the ham is also probably local because, again, the flavor of the ham is it just goes perfectly with the dish. Okay, so this is something special. It's called calentado. Calentado is something very typical from Colombian. It's kind of reheated leftovers. Esa historia, ¿de dónde viene? Eso de...
En las casas paisas que siempre hay frijoles, huevos.
Okay, so they just explained to me, there's always, like, in this region, there's always beans in the house. So un calentado is kind of like, okay, grab the beans, throw it with the rice, throw potatoes, get a fried egg, whatever meat you have in the fridge. And it's very, very popular here, and it's a very popular dish in the whole country. So calentado, I didn't know that. I always thought it was leftovers, but it's reheated leftovers. But it's because of the beans. There's always beans at a house from this region. What we have here is we have a tenderloin, a grilled tenderloin. We have rice and beans, so it's kind of mixed. So the sauce of the beans, they kind of throw it over the rice. So you see, it's kind of like a soupy, almost like a risotto, but it's because of the beans and the sauce of the beans and the rice. So you see? And then typically this dish, it's very popular to kind of just break the egg, and then the yam kind of just goes over and it works as a sauce. So ready?
Yeah.
So you kind of get a little bit of the meat, you know, which is, this is a tenderloin, which they call it here lomo. So I'm gonna get a little, and then this kind of just mixes. You have a little bit of the egg, get a little bit of the rice, and you go at it. See that? So how can we go wrong with a calentado? You just can't. I can see why there's a popular dish here in this country. The beef, it's actually grass-fed beef because they don't have the large production here locally of beef, so it's actually grass-fed. But and then you see the grill marks. Like I know it's some kind of sugar marinade, and he was telling me it's a little honey. And that's what you have, the little grill marks, and that's the taste. I do feel a little sweetness on the outside. So but with the calentado, it just tastes awesome. You can't go wrong with a good steak, some egg and some rice and beans. You can't. So they invited me here to see how they make the coffee. So if you can see this machine, it's over 50 years old, but you can see it's all natural. It's all, nothing's digital. It's from the old school. So we have here Jose, who's the main barista from this shop. So muéstrame qué estamos haciendo. So he just grounded fresh coffee. Okay, ¿y qué vamos a hacer ahora?
Un cappuccino.
So we're gonna do a cappuccino. Beautiful. You can smell how fresh that coffee bean is. The roasted of the coffee bean, you can smell it from here. Beautiful. So I can smell it just through this. Oh wow. So they were telling me that the culture of here drinking coffee is no sugar. It's more about tasting the coffee and feeling the coffee. So, oh, that's good. I don't drink a lot of coffee. Again, I'm not an expert, but it tastes very fresh. It's pretty damn amazing. Okay, anytime you go somewhere, you need to know a local. Where the best spots are. Juanita is a good friend of mine, and Juanita is a big foodie, loves food, knows everything about Armenia. She's been telling me all the history, population, a little bit of everything. So, Juanita, you ready to eat in this first restaurant?
Let's go.
Let's do it. Buenas. Gracias, papá. All right, so we're here with Victor. It's actually an Asian fusion with Latin American food, this is the only restaurant here in the city. We're about 45 minutes out from the airport. It's a pretty big spot. It's about 250 seats, more or less. The view is spectacular, and we're here to kind of taste a little bit of the different fusion, Asian fusion with a Latin American feel to it. And I was asking him also, like, during pandemic, like what they did, how they did it, and they have a really big parking lot outside. So they started doing theaters. So they put a really big screens, kind of all the cars parked, and then they would just bring the food out to the cars. And then they also there was a circus that got stuck in the city. So they started also doing kind of circus tricks with the cars. Very, very interesting how they kind of reinvented themselves and kind of survived during pandemic. Victor, thank you so much for having us. Really appreciate it. So we're gonna look at the menu and just order the things that Victor suggests for us to have. So the appetizer just came. I'm starving and I can't wait. This looks amazing. So this is all local product. Again, like I can't emphasize enough how fresh everything looks. So we got some chorizo, which is from Santa Rosa. So it's a local. Oh, it actually looks amazing. They put a little lime, so I guess you just kind of squeeze a little lime over it. So that's kind of, you like it with lime or no?
Yes.
All right, let's do it. Let's kind of throw it on. Grab a fork and dig in. So it's cut very thin. So they call this a carpaccio of chorizo. So it's cut, if you can see it, it's cut very, very thin. And usually chorizo is just fat spices, and it's usually the local spices. Sometimes they add pork, sometimes they add beef and pork. This one in particular, I'm assuming it's just pork. Yeah, it's very good. And it's cold. Usually they serve it hot, so I guess that makes it a little different too. Let's try it.
It's a carpaccio, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a carpaccio. So let's try it with some of this on it. And let's see how. Oh yeah, it tastes a lot better.
Yeah.
Let's make one for Juanita. And then of course, like, I'm a big fan of margaritas. So I don't know if this margarita is something special. So but let's try it. Oh, it's mango viche. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. So mango viche is probably the most amazing combination like ever.
Yeah.
Like it's a green mango with lime and salt. Oh, like here in Colombia, it's very typical. I remember when I used to come to Colombia a lot, like especially in the coast or just kind of anywhere on the street, like they kind of slice up the mango, put it like in a little bag, and then they squeeze a bunch of lime, salt, a little Tabasco, and then and vinegar, and they kind of mix it up and you just eat it, and it's got citrus with it's a punch, yeah. And it's like, and you eat it, and you keep eating it, and it's just amazing. So that's that in a margarita. So check it out. All right, let's try it. That's fucking good. That's really good. So these are marranitas. It's very typical. It's very typical from here, right?
It is.
Like, cause I've heard about it. So marranita is like marrano is pig in English. So I would say like little piglets, maybe little piglet bites sounds. So the outside is sweet plantains. So, and it seems like it's a plantain, but you can kind of see that it's like a tempura batter. So I think they get it, and then they kind of put it in a tempura batter, and then it has pork rinds inside. So it's pork belly. Audie, can you see it? Give me some acknowledgement. Yes? Yeah. Okay, perfect. It's chicharrón, which is pork rinds. Man, and the tempura I think just makes it, it's gonna give it an extra little, so I'm gonna eat it by itself, and then they have, well, this is tomate de árbol. Tomate de árbol is it's kind of like it's a fruit that tastes like tomato. So it's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
And it's a very local Colombian fruit. So let's try it by itself. That's very good. So this tomate de árbol, let me try it by itself. It's a little on the tart side. The texture, if you can see, the texture is kind of like a puree. I feel it like a little citrusy, which could go very well with this. And this is a type of, this is like a home sauce, which he says is like a nogao, which is tomato and onion. Oh, that's really good. I like this a lot. So let's put a little bit of both and try it. This is a lot better with the sauces. You can see kind of the pork rinds. So you see the sweet potato, and then they have like chunks. You can see it here better. You have kind of chunks of chicharrón, which is pork rinds. It has different herbs, but what makes it interesting is the outside. It has like, they dip it in tempura batter, which gives it a nice crunch to it, that's different. Like, that's not typical, right?
No.
And then check this out, even better. They brought this, he said he really recommends it. Victor was saying that he really recommends it, and it sounded interesting because it's a watermelon with jalapenos. Oh man, it's a watermelon lemonade with jalapenos. Lemonade, watermelon, very simple. It's very refreshing. Here the weather's a little warm, so I think this is a great beverage like for the day. Maybe I would take it with some tequila.
Yes, we'll make a cocktail out of it.
I would make a cocktail out of it. And then this is passion fruit and mango, so it's a combination of both, which it looks a little on the thick side, right?
Yeah. Also some tequila.
I would definitely throw some tequila in there. So this food looks amazing. So these are the entrees. So it definitely has that Asian spin to it. So let's try this one first. This is like an Asian rice. They call it chaufa, which is very big in Peru. It's kind of the blend of Japanese and Peruvian, but chaufa is like an Asian rice. So this has, looks like it has chorizo, sweet plantains, soy. So I'm gonna get like a little bit of everything. So you can kind of take a look. So it's got the chorizo, the sweet plantain, the rice, and they serve this one with chicken. All right, so let's try it. So the rice is very tender. The chorizo and the sweetness, you have both. Like, I wasn't expecting the sweet plantain, but it tastes really good. And I think it gives it that Colombian flair. And then it goes with grilled chicken. So this chicken actually looks. Now, there's one thing I love about Colombia. It's like, as soon as I get down to Colombia, I don't know, the chicken here tastes like chicken. And this is all like local product. Look how juicy this is. Look. You can just see how juicy that chicken is. And again, local chicken, it tastes like chicken. I don't know, in the States, I always say that like the chicken doesn't always taste like chicken, it just tastes like very stale because of all the hormones and everything. And here, everything's like very just organic, naturally. And this is an awesome plate. So this is another dish. This is something very particular and very typical from here. It's called aborrajada. So these guys do it with a twist of this. It's a sweet plantain and it's stuffed with cheese, kind of a gratin. They have tenderloin that is dipped in some soy sauce and local corn. And then I don't know what this sauce is. Oh, that's good. It's like a sweet soy sauce. So this is kind of like a sweet soy sauce. So which tastes very good. It's not salty. It's more on the sweet side. So let's taste a little bit of this tenderloin. That's just a couple vegetables on top. That soy sauce has that sweet saltiness to it. So kind of see. So what they did is that they got the tenderloin and they kind of made it like a steak, which is kind of smart because the tenderloin is not tough at all. So it's very, very tender. The soy sauce has a little saltiness. It has a little sweetness to it. So it's awesome. I really like that combination. Let's try the corn. So it's, I'll say again, tomato, onions, almost like a typical avogado, but with corn. So you have the texture of the corn and the sweetness of the corn, the sweet corn, and it goes well. And then let's try the borjao, which this actually looks really, really good. So what these guys did is, you can tell, so you have the layer of the melted cheese and then you have the sweet plantain in the bottom. And then the sweet plantain, it's also in tempura. So that's kind of cool. So they made like a rice cake, or they made like a cake out of sweet plantain, and then they dipped it into tempura, and then they fried it, and then they put some melted cheese over it. Oh wow. Oh, that's really, really good. I think this soy sauce just makes everything happen. So again, it's a sweet soy sauce, almost like if it was a reduction of I don't know if it's the broth of the actual meat, a little reduction with a little sugar and soy, and it's awesome. Like, I think this makes everything happen. And I'm gonna take another bite of this because this is awesome. This is like, I'm a big fan of sweet plantain. And this is called aborrajada, which is a typical dish from here. This is just done with a twist. So I'm gonna have another piece of this. That's awesome. I was just talking to Victor, and he says what saved them is actually that this place does these private events, that they're having a private event now. But look at the view. The view is just unbelievable. So they have a 180 view of the whole view of Armenia. Look how beautiful it is. After you, madam. So we just finished having lunch in Dar Papaya. If you're in Armenia and you're in the mood for Asian food, this is your place. Highly recommended. We're actually gonna go right next door to Dulce Oasis. Yeah. We're gonna go check out Dulce Oasis and have some sweets. Okay, so we came to this place right next door. It's called Dulce Oasis. So they're very, very popular and very known for their obleas. Obleas is a typical dessert here from Colombia, which I absolutely love. And then they have coffee, baristas, but it's not only about the location. What we're gonna see right now is that the view that you have behind this little white house is unbelievable. They have little tents outside. You can kind of hang out. I see it perfect for a little coffee and that oblea. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. Let's check it out. Y como un cafecito que... Sí. Okay. ¿El café de usted mismo? All right, so they just told me like very interesting information. Like with the coffee, I was asking if the coffee ends up, because you go to any little small coffee shop here, and everybody has their own brand of coffee. So with their own brand of coffee, I asked them if it ends up commercializing outside of the city, outside of Armenia, and they said that now it's just the culture. The culture is getting a lot better with coffee. So people, usually the Colombian coffee is exported, and now a lot of it is staying in Colombia, and it's just all due to the culture and people seeking and making these new brands. And the coffee growers are realizing that there's a huge opportunity for them to make more money and sell it direct, and that's kind of where the whole world of coffee is. He feels it's becoming, the culture is just becoming more educated on good coffee, what a good coffee is.
Ella lleva una reducción de 3 leches y coco.
Okay.
Y lo rellena con eso y...
All right, so these are like, this is called an oblea, but it's like little pancakes. So it's made of flour, is what she's telling me. And then in the middle, it's got she told me a reduction of dulce de leche. A reduction of condensed milk, but it kind of, the texture looks like a dulce de leche. And then it's kind of rubbed with a chocolate on top and coconut. Actually, the inside also has coconut. So, and then you just eat it like a little pancake. But you know what? I'm actually gonna eat it outside because You guys gotta see this view. This view is unreal. So you can't complain. Look at this view. I mean, having a coffee, having dessert with this is the air here. Again, what you breathe is just completely different to the capital or to the city. This is. Look at this. All right, I'm here with Manuel. He's the barista here at Dulce Oasis, and he's gonna make us coffee. He's explaining to me that this is the version of V60. The reason it's V because you have kind of like a little funnel that looks like a V, and it's at a 60-degree angle. So he's gonna make us coffee. Okay, ¿qué tenemos acá? Esto es una pesa. So he has a scale, and that scale is to weigh the coffee and the water. Okay, so this coffee here has two varieties. Oh man, it just smell. Look, smell. So it has two kinds of varieties of coffee beans, and he says that this coffee grows at 1,400 metros or pies.
Metros sobre nivel.
Yeah, so it's 1,400 meters above sea level. So we're gonna go ahead and make it now. Vamos a hacerlo.
Explícalo.
Ay.
Para ese café vamos a preparar.
So he's saying that for every gram of coffee, he uses 10 milliliters. He uses 10 milliliters of water, and that's his combination.
Pues no lo cuento en el vertido final.
So this is a pre-infusion. Cuando dice pues, gasificado, ¿qué significa?
Cuando
Oh, okay.
del café.
So what he's saying is that the pre-infusion, he's infusing it before, and that all depends on when it was roasted, and the carbono dióxido, so carbon dioxide he says it needs time to release, but he says this one's already been released. It's already been sitting for a bit, so he doesn't need to infuse it that much. And this one is going to take a lot less. If it was just freshly roasted, it would probably take a little bit more than a minute, he says. All right, I wanted to check this out because I can smell when the coffee was kind of brewing, when he was adding the water, you could just smell the coffee of how fresh it is. But look at come and check this out. Okay, so again, this is two types of coffee beans. It's just a smell. Like, you just smell, you could smell it really, really strong. And I guess it's just because it's fresh. This is relaxing, very, very relaxing. Juanita, do we cheers with coffee or no? Yeah, we can cheers with coffee? Okay, cool. We cheers with aguardiente, might as well cheers with coffee. Oh, that's stronger, huh? So he was saying that to try the coffee very, very hot, not so hot, and cold, and you'll have different flavors. Like the colder, the sweeter it'll get. And then he was saying that I guess it oxidizes as it goes getting colder, so it'll have 3 different flavors. Yeah. So with the coffee here in Dulce Oasis, it's again oblea. This I asked them, but this is made of flour, right? I think it's just flour and water, huh? So if you can see kind of the texture, it's kind of like a very thin pancake, and I think it seems like it's just flour and water, you know? So I'm gonna take a bite of this. Oh, all right. Look at these layers. Oh, I guess they did 3 layers of these patties, and then in the inside is that dulce de leche. So it's like a thick condensed milk, almost between regular condensed milk and dulce de leche, and then the chocolate. That goes very well. And then there's coconut inside too. That's awesome. That's very good. We're here in Icónico, so it's a first cocktail bar here in Armenia. The place is actually beautiful, the decor. How the bar is set up is absolutely remarkable. It's been open for about 2 months. They opened right after pandemic, and I was kind of talking to Juan Felipe, the owner, and he was telling me that that it's a bet, but it's something that the city needs. Like the cocktails, there's really no true cocktail bars here in this city. So for him to do this, he was telling me that he's like, people are very appreciative. They're like, we needed something like this. And I was kind of telling him he lived some time in Bogota, in the capital. And he's like, I don't need to go back to Bogota now. Now everything is like, the gastronomy here is growing. They're starting to pull people from different places, as well as the cocktail scene. So this is the first cocktail bar, and I don't think they could have picked a better place. Like, look at this. It's a 360 view of the whole entire city. The vibe, the energy is great. And what they did is, it was supposed to be a restaurant up here, and they ended up doing just a bar. They negotiated and they made the bar. So they make everything from scratch here. They squeeze their citruses daily. All these are infusions. They're gonna make me some cocktails now. Diego y Alejandro, un placer, Diego. We got Diego and Alejandro, the mixologists here at Icónico. All right, so this is a vodka macerated with peppers. So what they're letting me do right now is they're letting me try like different liqueurs that they use for the different cocktails. So in a good cocktail bar, like they would do a lot of this stuff from scratch, which is what they're doing here. So this is vodka macerated with pepper. So, oh, that's spicy. Picantico. Ooh. The vodka is very, very spicy, and I'm assuming because it's fresh pepper, but you get that kick at the end. Oof. Okay, so it's very spicy, but it's that pepper, that fresh pepper taste that you feel all over the palate. It's pretty awesome. So this is rum with a little lemon grass and ginger, which to me, just that combination alone, lemon grass and ginger is great. Oh, you can smell it. You can smell that citrus. Oh, that's good. Esto está muy suave, muy delicioso. So the flavor is, again, it's just very smooth, and you feel that lemongrass. I still feel pepper. The pepper's going crazy in my mouth. But the lemongrass, you feel it. You feel that citrus, and then the ginger just nice and lightly in the back. So that's awesome. So again, they make all this stuff from scratch. So again, a good cocktail bar usually makes their own syrups in-house. It's not bottled. Everything is done from scratch. And this is Flor de Jamaica. So you can see the color has a great consistency on the syrup. Oh wow, that's good. That's very good. Yeah, that's a hell of a syrup. Socio, ¿cómo es? All right, so this is the first cocktail that they're making. It's, again, a version of a mango viche, which is, it's very interesting. Again, the mango viche is like a green mango with a little lime, a little pepper, a little salt, and then sometimes they add a little Tabasco. So they kind of got that ridiculously amazing concept and made it into a cocktail. It's mango kind of shaved. It's got Himalayan salt, which is the pink, some pepper. He grated some of that pepper fresh. So let's try it. Oh, that's good. Está muy bueno. Oh, very good. So look, you can see kind of, let me grab some of this. So, you see this? I think so. He says it's the idea is to interact with a mango. No, all right. Not interact with a mango, interact with a cocktail. Look at the ice. So he made like a ball of ice, and that's the cup that holds the mango, and it also cools the cocktail. So that's very, very kind of unique, which is kind of cool. Muy bueno, muy bueno. Okay, so the purpose of this cocktail is to kind of mix it yourself, kind of very interactive. I guess the two cocktails I've had have been a bit interactive, which I think is super cool. So we have a little bit of simple syrup from simple syrup of mora, which is that between that raspberry and that blackberry. We have simple syrup of uchua, which is again is gooseberry, and we have a little bit of rum, which is infused with rosemary. Está infusionado con romero y con qué?
Con romero.
So it's rum infused with rosemary. So the whole objective is just kind of pour as much as you want. He said, pour as much simple syrup as you want. Do you like it stronger? Do you like it lighter? And you kind of play with the cocktail, which I think is super cool. I go with the rum first. Or actually, we can put a little bit of both. So he says, as we start adding it, it'll start melting. So it's kind of cool how this is a little interactive. I guess I'll put a little bit of the simple syrup as well. So I like mine particularly sweet. Okay, so he says to put it on from the top so it doesn't fall. So we put in a little bit of the both syrups. There's a little combination of everything. The jam kind of fell as well. So you can kind of go eating it with the ice. You can go eating it with a spoon. Oye, esto agarra el romero bien. This is very, very well infused with the rosemary. You can smell it and you can taste it because you have the fresh rosemary here. And the cool thing is, like, I guess everybody has a different custom, whether they like it sweet, whether they don't like it sweet. So I particularly like my cocktail sweet. So it gives me the ability to make it sweeter or not sweeter, or make it stronger or not stronger. So I think that's what makes this cocktail very, very cool. Okay, so we're here at La Fogata. It's a steakhouse. Everything a la parrilla, which is everything on the grill. So we're gonna check it out. Very, very popular, very highly recommended. Can't wait to try it. All right, so we ordered a couple of these chorizos and longanizas. Longaniza is kind of like the chorizo, it's just a little thinner. It's all pork. So is the chorizo. The chorizo, we have regular chorizo and chorizo with jalapeno. So the jalapeno just has a little kick to it. And these are just things that you can kind of pick at. They put the toothpicks, and then I typically like this with some lime. So the lime's already kind of just gonna squeeze some lime over it. And then what the lime does is usually, sometimes this has a lot of fat, so what the lime does is it cuts the fat a little bit. So this chorizo is done in-house, and they stuff it here. So if you can see like the chorizo, so you see like the pieces of pork, the fat, and then they have some herbs. Usually it's parsley, sometimes it's cilantro. It's definitely got a spice to it. So that one, the jalapeno does have a little kick to it, little chunks of jalapeno. So when you bite into it, it makes it a little spicy. Let's try the longaniza. The longaniza is a little thinner. So if you can kind of see, and this is what they call them. So it's like a thinner sausage, and it's got a different flavor. I almost feel it's a little smoked. I can taste the charcoal from the grill a lot more in these little ones than I can in the big one. And I think that's it'll absorb a little more of that flavor, and it probably cooks faster too. It came before, so it probably cooks faster too. And with the lime, it tastes a lot better with the citrus. Cheers, cheers, cheers. We ordered something that was very, very popular here in this restaurant, which is chunchuya. This restaurant is 58 years old, and this is one of the first things that they served back 58 years ago. So the recipe hasn't changed. It's been the same recipe for all this time. And here, it's beef intestine. Again, this is a dish that's a hit or miss. Either it's really good or it's really bad. So here, this actually looks pretty good. It's all how they clean them. It usually depends how they clean the intestines, and the cooking process is a little difficult. You know, they have to cook it for a long period of time, and then they deep fry it. I'm gonna put this with a little bit of guacamole, which is what they recommend it with. So I'm gonna have another chunchuya. I actually like it a lot with lime. This one they don't eat it with lime, and I haven't had it with avocado before, and it's actually pretty good with avocado. But I like it with a little more citrus. Very, very good. Okay, so we got our entrees here at La Fogata. So this is a punta de anca. So this is one of their most popular dishes. It's the back butt kind of part of the cow, and it's kind of filleted. So it's on the grill. It's got a little piece of fat on top, and this is it's kind of one of their most popular dishes. I don't know if we're supposed to maybe add some chimichurri to that, but I want to try by itself first, and then I'll try it with maybe a little chimichurri. So it cut very, very smooth, very juicy. I mean, you can kind of see. I don't know how long it was aged for, but you can kind of taste a little bit of the aging on there. I'll ask him now how many days they aged the meat. I would probably say it was aged for maybe over 30 days, at least. Let me try it with a little chimichurri. So this is a house chimichurri. It's usually parsley, a little cilantro, lime, salt. See it? Yeah, let's try it. I love my meat with chimichurri. Makes hell of a difference. Awesome. Okay, so these looked really, really good. It looked good when it was described on the menu, and it looks even better like in person. So what I love about Colombia is that whenever you're eating like a fried chicken, roasted chicken, or ribs like this, they give you this. So you don't get your hands dirty. You just take out the gloves and you kind of eat it, which is exactly what I'm gonna do. Get the gloves on, grab my ribs. So this has a Jack Daniel's sauce on it. The ribs, again, they're very, very tender. I can touch them obviously with my hands. They're very, very tender. And then I also smell the charcoal of the grill. So I think they were almost like roasted and then like finished off on the grill with this, and then throwing the sauce on top. So, This is like really good. Thing is, look at this rib. Look at this rib. Look how juicy that looks. Look. I mean, you can see the fat content. You see the beef, like meat, fat. What's delicious about it is you have the taste of the charcoal like right at the end. So you're kind of eating it, and then the charcoal just gives it that grill taste to it. Man, this is awesome. Very, very good. And the best part of this is this. Look, you see my hands? You just go like this, and look, they're clean. It's the best thing. It's the best thing that ever exists here in Colombia. I can't believe it. Can't believe we would have this in the States. Buenísimo, hermano. Qué bendición. Buenísimo. Ese saborcito. So we have officially completed our day in Armenia. What an exceptional day. We've had cocktails, we've had food, we've had appetizers, we've had entrees, all different kinds of fusions, and it's been unbelievable. I just can't emphasize enough how the ingredients, the importance of the ingredients make a final product this great. Like, again, we're in an agricultural town. You can tell that the product comes from very close, the freshness, the colors, the quality. It's also pretty amazing that all these restaurants survived after these 16 months of pandemic. They were all packed. Everything was busy, everything was moving, everything was back to normal, which tells me that they're gonna be okay. And another great thing about this city, Armenia, is the people that work, the hospitality, the hard work. Like, you can just see the service. Everything was they would just go out of their way to make sure service was great. So thank you, Armenia, for the people, the culture, the bars, the restaurant, just the whole hospitality industry. We will definitely be back. Armenia, thank you.